What up, RotoGrinders? Happy Friday. 2 hours nonstop. MLB DFS conversation starts right now on a Film Friday. Myself and Chop, as Mr. Richard says in chat, it is indeed a big boy slate. Not a full 15, but 12 games going down. Well, 12 as of right now. 12 as of right now. We may lose Boston and Cleveland. I will go ahead and drop that in the chat as far as Roth's weather report. Downgrade as the days progressed. Orange, red in Cleveland. Red is the scariest of the colors. Red is second, so it's not leading with red, but that looks really, really dicey. If you've been dealing with the afternoon stuff, of course, there's some stuff out there I think either delayed or canceled as far as the earlier games. Everything else looks pretty clean. Green in New York as far as the Yankees, green Kansas City, green yellow for St. Louis, green yellow in Colorado. Roth, unlikely to be here later today. Unlikely, but we're going to try to get an update out of him. Maybe he'll pop up on Twitter, but we have his article was just updated, and I imagine if he has a chance to sneak on, he's going to do so for the people. Chop, Friday, how are things? Be all good?
Oh, good in the hood, bro. Ready for some, man, what a night of activity here, Dean. We got the NFL draft, MLB baseball, NBA playoffs.
Yeah.
Movie night? What? I don't even know how I'm going to fit all that in, Dean. This is
Baby
crazy.
Girl is debuting on HBO tonight. I don't know if you've seen that. Baby Girl, the Nicole Kidman's movie. It's supposed to be pretty good. It's dropping tonight on Max, HBO Max. I know you have your movie night. Do you have a? Is it already slotted? Do you know what you're watching already, or is it still up in the air?
Yes. Havoc on Netflix.
Havoc.
What? You haven't heard of Havoc? It's supposed to be. You see who's in it?
I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah, just dropped.
Tom Hardy. Okay.
Just dropped today. It's supposed to be his most action-packed movie, Tom Hardy. So we'll see. I'll gotta give it a shot, Ski. So yeah, that's what's on the menu tonight, Dean. A little Havoc, a little Tom. You can't go wrong with Tom Hardy, man. He's good.
Maybe Monday we'll do Tom Hardy Tom Hardy movies as far as our tiers, depending on how you think Havoc played out. I don't know, just throwing it out there.
Why not? Yeah, why not? Yeah. That sounds good. But yeah, lots of stuff. Like, I know you're probably not into the NFL draft stuff. I find it very intriguing.
Man, didn't watch a second of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but then again,
what did I miss?
There's a lot. Like. So the guy
I saw Travis, it was a draft day trade, like just like the Costner
draft, thing. Yeah, exactly. Like Travis Hunter, he's clearly was going number 2, probably should have gone number 1. And inexplicably, Cleveland kind of traded out of that spot for a bulk picks. I mean, it just depends on how he turns out.
I saw that.
Yeah, but then, if this guy does end up being generational, two-way player or something like that, a couple extra picks might not be the thing that makes up for it. But you got that. Man, he has a chance to be really good. I don't really know, man. I'm not going to try to pretend to know exactly. But here's the thing about him is you've got 2 shots at being great. Like, if he's not great as a wide receiver, you move him to defensive back, or vice versa. However, you got 2 shots at greatness. So at least you got that going for you for.
What if he's like pretty good at both?
Then I think that becomes pretty good for your team, right? Like,
yeah, I guess if he could play both ways, for how long?
Oh, Red Sox Guardians postponed Friday, so we got to mark that one off the list.
Down to 11.
Okay. Yeah, but that's fun. I mean, obviously the NBA playoffs there've been some bad games, but there've been some really good games too. So I'm looking forward to tonight being some good games.
Memphis should just be able to stop. Like they're up 26, they're down 0-2. Ja gets hurt again. They blew the game last. That should be it. Everybody should just go home and just say, you know what, Thunder, move. The commissioner should step in and just say, we don't need a 4-0 sweep here. Memphis doesn't want to be there. It's over, right? They gave their best punch. They lost one of their best players. The Thunder were the best team in the league. Whatever. Tickets were sold, and there's TV rights and all that. But I mean, nobody wants a game 4. It's over.
No, I would disagree with that. I think that there's some Memphis players who want a game 4. They want to game 4 because somebody's about to take out Lou Dort after that cheap shot he did last night.
Oh boy,
That was a bad play. Come on, Lou Dort.
Who's most likely to be that somebody?
Who's on the bench that they don't really need? They'll put him in. Watch when so and so gets up and he hadn't even seen the floor of the series and he gets up and checks in. You know what's about to happen.
Noted. All right, let's dive in. Let's talk about tonight's 11 gamer. We have a Coors slate. I believe we have the lineups for both Cincinnati and Colorado. They just dropped 10.5. No, 9.5 as far as the total. So it's not a massive Coors total. Cincinnati not a spectacular team outside of De La Cruz. Colorado, of course, they can only score so many runs. Funky lineup for them. Just some different players. Beck leading off and Bouchard, McMahon, Goodman the catcher, Stallings, so double catcher, Moniak, Taglia, Amador, and Shunk taking on Andrew Abbott. A lot of good pitchers, some good pitchers in tough spots. Paul Skeens and Yamamoto. Skeens taking on the Dodgers is kind of a fun one. He's a massive dog here because his offense is not very good outside of O'Neal Cruz. The Athletics have almost a 6 total, massive total, biggest total on the board, taking on Sean Burke for the White Sox. They might have an opener, right? Is Burke the official starter? And there's the opener I'm trying to remember who's who amongst it's kind of a bullpen game there. The Burke is one of the guys. I think Gilbert is supposed to also pitch, but we shall see there. But again, we talk about that ballpark being one of the more appealing spots and the White Sox being pretty horrendous. Seattle taking on Cal Quantrill. The ballpark stinks, but Quantrill, one of those pitchers that has a small sample, right? But, more walks than strikeouts. And the bullpen for the Marlins, I was digging through that today, basically the worst or second worst in essentially every meaningful category. Not striking people out, walking too many dudes. Biggest Sierra, tough ballpark. But also Seattle's got some cheapies. Both we saw Luke Raleigh. Kyle Raleigh, big dumper. He's in there too. And then Rowdy Tellez also cracked the lineup as a potential cheapie for Seattle. Chris Sale, a good pitcher. We're taking on Arizona, kind of a tough offense these days. And then we have Logan Gilbert. I should have stuck with Seattle because Logan Gilbert taking on those terrible Marlins. Not as completely horrendous as you probably think, but they're like bottom 10 in most categories. But they're not the worst, but they're still bad. And Gilbert's, he's got the biggest K percentage in all of baseball this year? Logan Gilbert. Shout out to him. And this ballpark is spectacular. Every single start, he's been at least usable or good, solid. And the ceiling is certainly there against this terrible Fish team. What do you have as far as your screenshot? Also, we have Pablo Lopez coming back. I don't know how long he's going to go. Probably a little bit of a leash there. And, of course, Minnesota just kind of, as a team, puts a leash on their pitchers. They did sound down, I guess, to make room for Lopez. They sent down, I can't remember the guy's name now. I'm losing it. But we used him a couple days ago, and he's a pretty decent pitcher. But maybe he'll pop back up again. But, yeah, the leash there is just traditionally that Minnesota, for whatever reason, does not like to push their guys. What do you got? Screenshot. How are we seeing tonight's now 11 gamer?
I don't know. It's a lot of games, Dean. I didn't even got a screenshot. It's too big for my screen. I don't even know what to do with this. I mean, try to pluck out a couple pitchers. Luckily, running multiple lineups, I don't have to narrow it down as much. Pluck out a couple of good pitchers and just stack away, man. And hope one of them's going to be the nuts. So just hope you land on it plenty of times in a good iteration. So that's all you can do, Dean.
Mets sent down. Beatty. Beatty got sent down. I saw Alvarez got activated, and I guess McNeil as well. Mets are not on our slate. That's why that wasn't on my brain. But Francisco Alvarez and Jeff McNeil are in the lineup today for the Mets. Almost a 5 total for the Yankees. Nothing amazing as far as weather edge. I will go ahead and I dropped this earlier, but you guys are just joining us. As far as weather, I think the only dicey game now is gone. Cleveland and Boston. Weather edge wise, nothing really popping. But anything else you want to say, or do you want to fully dive in? You want to give out today's first clue for a Film Friday? We can do that. First clue, Chuck. You want that?
I would love the. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, before the first clue,
Yeah.
No, you know what? Hit me with the first clue, then I'm going to hit you with a trivia.
Oh, boy.
Oh, it's not. Come on, Dean.
So the first clue for Film Friday, and for those that are not aware, you should be at this point, but if you're not, if you're new, welcome. Hit that like button and subscribe and turn on those notifications, do all those things. Hit all the buttons. First clue is connect. Tell me what movie I'm talking about based upon the clues. I'll drop 5 clues individually every 10, 15 minutes, depending on. You get one guess, no MMEing. Where do you guess? Official guesses are in the Discord channel, RotoGrinders.com/Discord, live stream chat channel. Most of our Discord channels are free. That is a free one. Just fire off your guess, and if you happen to guess correctly in your first, you get a week free of RotoGrinders Premium, which includes not just baseball stuff, but football, baseball, basketball, hockey, golf, PGA, MMA, all the goods, all the bells, all the whistles, the optimizer, everything you can think of. No NASCAR. You want NASCAR? That's a la carte. But every other sport, you get yourself a week free of RG Premium. All right, Chop, fire off your guests in the private chat when you have a moment. But I'm ready for some Astros trivia. I'm sure I'm going to do spectacular.
So it's not Astro trivia.
Oh,
I got 2 of them for you. I ripped off.
Okay.
Because today and then earlier in the week, but neither one of them is Astro. So I don't know what the hell. That was fake news on this calendar. But this one, these both are relatively current, but maybe this one's a little bit tougher. So I'll give you this one. This is a 2-parter. Two answers. On this date in 1970, Tom Seaver of the Mets set an MLB record by striking out 10 batters in a row. In 2021, 2 pitchers equaled that. 2021, 10 batters in a row. Who you got?
Whew. 2021.
Who was really good in
Jacob deGrom.
No. Well, good guess, though.
Not deGrom. Huh. 2021. Was Sale good then, or was he hurt then?
Man, I don't even remember, but it's not Sale though. But
okay. Mad Max.
No. Good guesses though. You're there. You're turning back the clock to 2021. I like it.
It's not Verlander, right?
Nah, it ain't Verlander. Let me give you the answer, Dean, because we might be here all day with these. Corbin Burns for the Brewers did it in 2021, and
he might have 10 strikeouts all year this year. But
this is when, he stopped striking guys. This is when this guy was good. Aaron Nola did it.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't going to guess that. Yeah.
Okay, this one's fun because it brought back a name from the past that we clearly remember in DFS, but it's just a fun name. All right, trivia for you. On this day, 2010, 2010 on this day, who became this day 2010, and we got a game in Colorado tonight, so it's interesting. Who became the first pitcher in Rockies history to throw a no-hitter?
Oh, Ubaldo Jimenez?
Oh, you got it. Ding, 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 nailed it.
I remember that.
What a throwback name that is, though, ain't it? Like,
yeah. You say in fantasy, are you saying DFS as well? Were you playing DFS in 2010?
Wasn't he around? Oh man,
it was kind of the early stages of like FanDuel.
Yeah, it was borderline.
I don't think there was
I've been on RotoGrinders for like 11 or 12 years, so
it'll say go check your RotoGrinders profile. It'll tell you when you create your profile. So I'll check mine. I'm curious what yours is.
Yeah. Oh man, this sounds fun, Dean. Where do I check it at?
I think you just go to my account. It says member since. If you go to my account, it'll tell you like your rankings and stuff like that. I'm a member since. I'm sure you beat me. You want to go first?
No, you go first, Dean.
Yeah, October 12th, 2012.
Oh, nice.
So I mean, I'm still old, but yeah.
So I for sure 100% fact was playing DFS before I joined RotoGrinders, right? Because I remember playing on FanDuel and they had their chat, and that's kind of where I first came across the name RotoGrinders and clicked on the link, right? So I know I was playing plenty back then before RotoGrinders. So yeah, I must have played Jimenez because I've been a member of RG since July 27th, 2010. Speaking of the no-hitter in 2010.
Same day Ubaldo threw his no-hitter. You signed up for RG.
So, yeah, definitely. Man, that's been a while, right? Golly, I can't believe RG's even been around that long. That's a.
Let us know in chat. I see Mr. Richard says 2016. Peter Viles 2016. Let us know in chat if you happen to be on RG right now. I'm curious how long everybody has been around for. Yeah, it's been it's like every day, man. It's just part of my routine. Michael's asking if FanDuel canceled the early slate. I don't know. Did you play I did not play the FanDuel early slate. They might have canceled it because one game got canceled.
Yeah.
There's only 2 games, and
there's
a 1-game slate. That's probably what happened.
That becomes just a showdown.
Yeah, that had to be what happened. I'm not playing, but just that's how these things work, right? I'm guessing, but I don't know that for certain. Don't hold me to it. You can't have you need an additional game outside of showdown stuff. 2016, 2017, Ackboy 2018. There you go. I Kill You in 2012. All right. Peter's saying 1986. I don't think that's correct. Maybe you're putting your birthday on there, but I don't believe 1986 is when you created your RG account. Okay. By the way, no Randy Arozarena in the Seattle lineup today, which
crazy buries me, man. I loved him. I love Arozarena tonight.
I like him too. That's interesting. J-Rod Polanco, Big Dumper, Rayleigh, Tellez, Moore, master of his own domain, Ben Williamson, and J.P. Crawford. That is your Mariners lineup today against Cal Quantrill. Okay. Pitchers. Logan Gilbert's the clear and obvious, right? Biggest K rate in the slate, most consistent pitcher, taking on the Marlins, great ballpark, big favorites. Is he somebody that you're going out of your way to make sure is in your lineup? So I'm going to see ownership-wise, we have now 11 games, but still, the number one ownership right now we have is on – wait a second. Did that just disappear? I got to hit refresh on Lineup HQ because it says nothing. It's just blank. Let's hit the refresh button. That's going to change, I would imagine. All right. Yeah, 44% for Gilbert. Yamamoto, 35% taking on those Pirates. King, 23% against Tampa. I'm a little hesitant about this one. I don't like this one. Lopez at 15, 20%. We're giving him 78 pitches. I think he threw 60 and change in his rehab. I don't know how deep he can go. Sure, he can strike out 7 or 8, I suppose. These angles aren't scary. And then Skeen's coming in at 12%, really interesting for tournaments because – people love Skeens. The K's are down a little bit this year, but, they obviously were ridiculous last season. Still really good, but the Dodgers are tough. How are you attacking pitchers tonight?
Well, Dean, before I attack the pitchers, I'd like to address Dave Mack in chat. I don't even know what I did to this guy, but he's gone out of his way now. Like 6 different messages to say, I'm pretty good in the NFL, but I suck in MLB, and he'd rather have the dog bark instead of my plays, have the dog bark. I get it, buddy. You're not having a good day, but don't take it out on me. Relax.
He said you're pretty good at NFL. You won $1 million a couple times.
That's fine, but I don't even know what's going on here, Dave. Relax, buddy. Take a chill pill, man. Get a pizza, watch a little Havoc, play a couple lineups. Don't worry.
Take the opposite then. If he thinks that you're a donkey, just say whatever the opposite you say, and that's a win.
Yeah. If I tell you here, Logan Gilbert, I think Logan Gilbert's a phenomenal pitcher tonight against Miami. I think
stack the Marlins.
Yeah. Then don't play him. At the very least, don't play Logan Gilbert if I'm that bad in MLB. I think Gilbert's fine. 10-2 is a pretty decent sound. You got to pay up for the good stuff. And to be honest with you, there's some names I like out there tonight. But there's really 2 that are the only ones that really stand out to me as like, oh, man, yeah, this is fantastic. Well, there's some others that are a little bit better. So you're going to have to spin up on pitching if you want to go that route. But Logan Gilbert in that matchup, the way he's pitched this year, yeah, man, he's a phenomenal play tonight, along with Yamamoto is the other one that I was highlighting as like clear cut above the rest. Doesn't mean you have to spin up on those guys. They are expensive, but Yamamoto's been really good this year in general, lately especially, and this matchup against Pittsburgh is pretty good too. So those are the 2 that are clear above everybody. But then again, Dave, maybe you should X those guys out, Dave. I'll say it like that.
By the way, if you're playing basketball tonight, Tatum has been upgraded from doubtful to questionable, and Brown is questionable for Boston, and also Drew Holiday is questionable. So there you go. Just if you're playing basketball tonight, you mentioned there's some games going down. Of course, Boston's up 2-0.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I kind of thought earlier when they ruled Jaylen Brown as questionable, I thought this is the game Boston kind of punts. You know, they always do that like once a series with an inferior team, go out there and just not play well at all and get beat by 20 by somebody they shouldn't have. That shouldn't happen. I thought this might be the game. Maybe Tatum coming back is like, we're going to play one of them, but we're not going to play them both. I don't know. We'll find out. But I think that's interesting. I put a few shekels on Orlando already. I think this is the Boston like relaxed game. Yeah, it happens.
There's also some value in just like winning all four and just chilling for a week too. So, like I see both sides of it. You know, if you can get a sweep.
No, it's not. Yeah. I don't even think they do it on purpose. Boston,
you think these guys are legit dinged
like
up.
Doesn't it seem like as good as they've been the last 3 years? They go into a series every series against an inferior team, and they just have a game where it just doesn't click, and then just like they get blown out almost, and they do get blown, not almost. So I think maybe
if you're super reliant on the three balls can have a high variance, and you have that one game where you're just not making your threes, and then that's that. So like, I suppose that does happen. We did see that. There was at the Minnesota game against the Lakers, where Minnesota made a bunch of threes game one, and the games where they didn't make them. And it turns out they won game. I think it was Minnesota. Might be confusing my games in this series, but all right. Yeah, you mentioned I'm leading into, by the way, as far as Gilbert. I'm just going to play him. I just, you know, the K's being spiking up this year. Great ballpark. We don't need the win, but I feel like he's got a really good shot at grabbing those win points. You mentioned Yamamoto. I'm trying to go double barrel. I think you can make it work. I think there's ways to do it. We'll get to it as far as hitters and stacks, but one way I'm going to do that, you know, my lineups are still fluid. I've not officially entered them. I'm going to make them after the show. I'm probably not playing De La Cruz in my main lineup. I'm probably not doing that. You're supposed to play him, right? Obviously, but baseball, you can fade anybody in baseball. You know, so I'm just probably not going to get there because we do live in the world of a salary cap, and I just prioritize the arm over the bat almost every single time. Arms are just more consistent, more reliant. You know, bats, right? We say it all the time. Any random hitter can have himself a day, and any great hitter can just go 1 for 4 with a double, and they can also do worse than that. Yeah, Cam is saying in chat there's ways to fit Judge, Yamamoto, and Gilbert. Yeah, I'm looking at that. The thing is, we'll have that discussion too, I suppose, and even Crunch Time will probably have the conversation as well. You got Dave Potts coming in, Beer is coming in as well, and Tim's holding it down. He'll be hosting, but I did my rankings today, Chop, like the consensus rankings. The infield's so much worse than outfield today. Just kind of looking at like players I like. It's like I love the outfielders as a whole, the infielders as a whole, especially like third, second. I think short is bad too. Outside of De La Cruz, and I'll have the money for it. So I understand both sides of it, but I'm probably not playing him. Pitchers beyond Yamamoto and Gilbert. I mentioned Skeens, King. There's some Ks there. Eovaldi and Sam Fran. I know optimizers earlier. I'm not sure if it's changed. I don't trust, optimizers for baseball is different than, other sports. But Verlander was hitting some stuff. I'm like, I'm not playing Verlander. There's just no chance I'm playing Verlander tonight. I know the ballpark's good. But, he's 42 these days. No, I'm not playing Verlander. I don't care what, he's a cheapie. I guess, if he gets 15 points on DK, you're kind of thrilled. But I'm curious, who else is in your pool? Or is it not very deep as far as your pool? You're just going to click a couple expensive pitchers and move on?
No, there'll be some other guys in there at that range. But so I would say that, first of all, I do want to point out the Dave Mack account. There's a non-zero chance that might just be Kirk Deach trolling me too.
Did you piss him off yesterday or something? Did you guys get into it?
He's got that in him. He's got that kind of troll in him, but you never know. But so you mentioned Lopez. He's really cheap, and he's getting a good projection. He's still getting a good projection despite some limited pitch stuff. I mean, he's probably still pretty good. But other guys I do, first of all, I love, and maybe tonight is a little bit, but Shane Baz in general, love
Yeah.
that, love the stuff, and I don't mind him tonight. And we've been doing shows all year now, and we talked. You talked about how the bottom of the order for San Diego not really all that good right now. Sure,
Mm-hmm.
get past the top, and this guy, he got rocked last time. I think it was against the Yankees, but that was the anomaly. He's got better stuff than that. It's a good chance to go in a pitcher's ballpark too.
Also, no Arise, and like Arise, like there's no upside in facing him because he's going to make
You're
contact.
not going to strike out. Never going to strike out. Now at least you get something, the ability to strike out. So I like Baz, man. I do like Baz. Michael King in the same game. We're going to this is a much bigger ballpark than. It's a pitcher-friendly ballpark, let's put it like that. So I don't mind Michael King. On the flip side of that, Tampa Bay has to come over to a much bigger ballpark than they're used to, and Michael King has some upside. So I like that one. You mentioned Verlander. It's tough, but man, the price tag is so good, right? The price tag on Verlander is very good. The matchup, okay, it's a pitcher's park. Love that about it. The matchup, probably not great for him because they've seen him plenty in the American League Central over the last couple of years, American League West. But I don't mind Verlander. Oddly enough, when I look at his numbers, like his fastball has started out this year as strong as it ever has. Like you'd have to go back 10 years to see his velocity start out a year this strong. So he's got something there. He's using the curveball a lot less than he has ever in the past. Maybe that was a San Francisco thing. They told him maybe this is what he should be doing. But I think there's a possibility at 7,300, in a pitcher's ballpark, he could crush. You never know. So I don't mind Verlander. I'll keep him in the pool. And then the last one I have highlighted, just because good price tag, great matchup, is Luis Severino. I like a little Severino.
Yeah, the matchup is the main thing, right?
Yeah, the matchup there. I think there's something there. The fringe guys that I don't know that I'm playing. I'm not playing Paul Skeens because the price tag. And if I'm going to spend that much, I want those top two guys we talked about. But, there's some guys in chat who made a very good point. Paul Skeens plus 170, plus 180 against any team in the league, even though it's the Dodgers. That's a pretty, if you like Paul Skeens, if you think Paul Skeens has a chance to do something tonight, bet that bet, man.
What about first five? What's the number first five?
Yeah, that sounds even better. I'm not into all that first five, but yeah, that does sound better now that you mentioned it.
I don't trust the bullpen for Pittsburgh is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, and he can go toe-to-toe with anybody in the league for 5 or 6 innings. So, yeah, I don't mind that at all. I mean, what's to say the Dodgers are not like a super team just yet, I don't think. He could definitely go out there and mow them down. So, I don't want him in DFS, but I think that bet people are saying is very good because that's a lot of plus money on a great pitcher. And then Eovaldi, I don't think I'm going to play him. I said he's a fringe guy, but again, much bigger ballpark than he usually deals with. The velocity's down this year a little bit. That scares me, but he really doesn't need his four-seamer to be all that much because he got such a good splitter and a good curve. But he can, this is a good ballpark for him. So, he's fringe for me. I'm not going to play him. But the guys I mentioned earlier, those are the guys I feel the best about.
Shannon in chat's asking about Hendricks. I just can't. I don't want to say in any circumstances. I don't like to speak in definitives, but I can't imagine the scenario where I'm playing Kyle Hendricks, maybe a 3-game slate or something. Just 12% Ks is just, I can't do it. Maybe he goes 6 innings if he's super efficient and strikes out 4 and he doesn't kill you, I guess. But there's just zero upside with Kyle Hendricks. Liberatore was also mentioned. Big ground ball guy, doesn't walk anybody either. On the season, Liberatore has got a 2% walk rate, 2%. The Ks are good at 24.5%. He was an elite prospect not that long ago. And again, the ground balls are really good. So I think he's in the pool of interest. Top 8 or 9 pitchers on the slate. I got nothing else. As far as the pitchers, do we just acknowledging Chris Sale is there? It's interesting. He's really not going to get played. You can do it. He's the reigning Triple Crown, pitcher, right? Wins, strikeouts,
so off this year, though, man. But you gotta think, when he got to Atlanta, people said it was a real thought that he was already on the downside, big time downside of his career. He didn't have much left. Then he had that resurgence. Maybe that was just a 1 year wonder or what have you. And because he's just not really pitching very well this year at all. Can't get out of the fifth inning. And so, yeah, I think I'll take a wait and see approach with Sale and see what happens. But other than that, you can go Hayden Wesniewski if you want to, cheap. And there's a little bit of K upside if he gets rolling. But that's about it.
I think Hayden Wesniewski is like our cue that we should move on from pitchers. I do want to acknowledge Alexander in chat though, who said he is coming in late. Watched Accountant 2. Accountant 2 dropped today, which is it's a precursor to our tiers today. It may be Accountant 2 related in some ways, but let us know how it was. No spoilers, but tell us if you liked it or you didn't like it.
No spoilers, man.
Yeah, no spoilers, especially not an opening day. Like, come on, can't do that. Maybe in a month, whatever, gray area. But he wants to just give him like the too long didn't read the TLDR of a pitcher recap. We're gonna drop that second clue, by the way, for Film Friday as you give him the recap as far as pitchers. Clue number 2 is Bud, Connect, and Bud. Bud and Connect. Those are our first clues for Film Friday. Three more on layaway. Go for it, Chop.
Generally speaking, I think there's a consensus that there's 2 elite pitchers tonight, Logan Gilbert and Yamamoto. They're expensive. So if you want to fit one or even both, I don't know if you want to go both, but if you want to fit one in, that's good. Those are the elite guys. But then there's some fringe guy, or then there's a second tier who's I think is pretty good, pretty decent. Michael King is in that tier. Pablo Lopez is in that tier. Shane Baz is in that tier. I think that Verlander is a possibility, and I think Severino is a possibility because of price tags. After that, you get into guys that based on price tag or matchup or something like that, they may be good pitchers, but they're just not on the radar tonight as much. Paul Skeens because of the price tag and matchup. Chris Sale, the recent performance, and some of those. And Eovaldi, I think, is fine, but fringe for me. So I think there's a nice group. There's an elite group at top, and then there's a pretty good tier 2. And after that, I kind of don't need the rest of those guys.
All right. Alexander tells us in chat that the Accountant 2 is worth it and encourages us to check it out. Yeah.
Oh, Dean, real quick. Steve Jones says Abbott and a question mark. I'll say this. I want to say this. Like, I wasn't going to play Abbott. I'm not going to play Abbott. I typically don't play guys in Coors Field unless the weather's really, really pitcher friendly, which this is not. But I'm going to say that there's very few lineups you'll ever see in the major leagues that have like 0 good hitters versus that handed pitcher, and over 2/3 of the lineup is strikeout heavy. Like, it's a great matchup. If it wasn't Coors Field, man, this would be a whole different story. But I think that for his ownership and everything that goes with it, I think Abbott could actually be in large field GPP play. It's a good call there, Steve.
Weather Edge, 75 games in Coors, similar weather, 52 degrees, 9 miles per hour as far as wind blowing, basically straight in from center field. The dew is 41. In 75 previous games with similar weather, homers have taken a hit at 16%, runs have taken a hit at 7%, ERA down 5.5%. Abbott did have that big strikeout game earlier this year, so he has the biggest K rate on the slate, but it's only 11 innings, 40%. He also has the biggest fly ball rate too. Again, there's a small sample size stuff. I could stretch it back to last year and get a little bit more of a more accurate reading for Abbott, and 149 innings in total. And then now all of a sudden this case dropped down to 20%. Still a fly ball pitcher in Coors is a little bit dangerous. The walks at 8.8%, kind of teetering on dangerous. But like you said, that lineup is horrendous.
I was highlighting Brenton Doyle earlier. I thought maybe Doyle was a guy. So he didn't even make the lineup. And with the new lineup that's out there, I'm seeing like 8 out of the 9 hitters as classified as high strikeout guys. That might be a record.
31.1% is the collectively on unplugged plate IQ. That's the number as far as the times these guys strike out against lefties dating back to last season. And the one that's not, for what it's worth here, Chop, Amador, 12.5%. That's because he struck out one time in 8 at-bats. So he might also be a K guy. I got to go back and look at his projection going forward, that kind of thing as far as the bats. But I imagine he's probably not a 12.5% strikeout guy. And maybe we have all 4, all 9 are possibly K guys. So, yeah, if you're running 150, I definitely think that you should have him at least in the pool. Let's see, Amador, 22 years old. Zips projects him to strike out at 19%. So kind of a contact guy these days. Let's see, the bats got him projecting out 17.3%. So I guess he is kind of a contact guy, which is, but that's still not a massive. It's not 12.5%, but he's projected to strike out.
Do we have a Colorado lineup? We do, right?
Yeah. I read it earlier. It's bad. Beck, Bouchard, McMahon, Goodman,
okay,
Stallings.
So Cornholio says Doyle is in the lineup. Is he? I don't think he is. I don't see him on Plate IQ.
I don't think so either. So is that why you're asking? Have something changed?
I thought he was not in the lineup, and then Cornholio says he is in the lineup. But then I went to go look again, and no, I don't think he's in the lineup. So it is a bad lineup. Doyle was. Oh,
you know what? I see Doyle leading off, and yeah. Do we not have him on the list? Are we only listing 8 hitters?
I'm seeing a confirmed lineup that does not have him.
Okay. Well,
Beck, Bouchard, McMahon, Goodman, Stallings, Moniak, Taglia, Amador, and Shunk.
Okay, this will get cleared up, but I'm seeing Doyle, Bouchard, McMahon, Goodman, Beck, Moniak, Toglia, Amador, and Shunk. So no Stallings in that one. So again, this will be cleared up, but I'm sure there'll be confirmation at some point. Oh, you know what? Somebody is saying Doyle was scratched. Again, we got to get some clarity on this, but he might have been scratched. We'll visit that soon enough. Yeah.
Don't look at DK for your lineups, right? DK will correct it, but it'll take a while. So if it was a recent thing, don't look at DraftKings for their lineup.
Yeah, they're generally a little bit behind. Their lineup, I think it's changed several times, and I believe Stallings is in for Doyle. But, that game doesn't start for several hours. I'm sure we'll get it figured out. Today's tiers, Chop, in honor of the Accountant 2 coming out opening today, I did power rank Ben Affleck movies. Tell me in chat, what's the best Ben Affleck movie? Also tell me the worst. He's got a fascinating career because he's had some amazing movies. I had a hard time. There's some really good movies. I had a hard time ranking his like 1, 2, and 3. 4, 5 was kind of easy. I'm curious to get your thoughts on that. Let me know in chat, best and worst Affleck movies. Because he's a high variance play, very high variance play. There's some true stinkers and some a lot of classics. Chop, do you have a thought on this before I reveal the board?
I mean, first of all, his movies, he's a very entertaining actor. So typically when he has a movie, it's usually pretty decent, pretty watchable. There's so many of them that I'm curious to see your board and tell you my thoughts on it. But it could go any way here because there might be some I really like that are entertaining that you might not like because it's not your style of movie, but we'll see here.
Several people in chat are saying, well, yeah, they got my 1, 2. It's like it's kind of split there in chat. 1, 2 is Good Will Hunting is quite possibly. You catch me at the right moment. You ask me at the right time. It might be my favorite movie, depending on. So that's number 1. And of course, he wrote it as well or co-wrote it. The Town, several people in chat talking about The Town, baseball-related, baseball elements there. A lot of a chunk of that movie takes place at Fenway. Spectacular movie. I had to put The Accountant on the board, although The Accountant's probably not a mid movie. The Accountant's better than mid. And there's other movies I just couldn't rank because they're too good. Gone Girl, which I watched recently, holds up. It's excellent. It's not a mid movie at all, so we couldn't put that on the board if we're thinking about it. Air's really good. So I put The Accountant in 3. Deep Water was a movie that dropped on Hulu like 3 or 4 years ago with Ana de Armas. It's like an erotic thriller, and it's kind of, I don't know, it's supposed to be fun. It's absurd and ridiculous, but it's also one of those movies you're leaning on. It's fun, but it's silly. It has an outrageous like finale, how they close the movie out. But I kind of recommend it, although like go in knowing it's not a great movie, but it's a fun movie. And it's just kind of, yeah. And then Geely. I mean, Geely, the movie with J-Lo many years ago, considered to be one of the worst movies made at the time. And there was others that, the Way Back, that didn't work for me. I know some people like that. Armageddon, you got some Armageddon truthers out there, I'm sure. When he was in Armageddon, Sum of All Fears, he was doing those disaster, the world ending kind of stuff. Argo was great. I had no place to put it. Great movie. But that is my board. Yeah. Anything else of note before we move on? Chop, today's Film Friday is not Step Brothers, by the way. It is not Step Brothers.
Okay. Let's see. So definitely Good Will Hunting. Agree with that. The Town. Agree with that. Accountant. I think you're right. It's better than a mid, but okay, we'll put it on the board as a mid, just as a shout out for this particular thing. Bad movies. He's had a few, so I think you could. With all due respect to our veterans, I think you could put Pearl Harbor down there too. Like, I don't know if I could sit through that movie.
I was told it was bad. I never saw it, but my understanding is it wasn't very good.
One movie that there's a couple, well, people kind of forget a little bit that he was in Dazed and Confused.
Yeah.
And that was a good one.
Part in that one.
Yeah, so that could have been that definitely could be a number one, but I definitely agree with Good Will Hunting. Also, a little bit lesser known movie that he was in that I thought was very entertaining, and I would have put in 4.
Can I guess, Chop? I know what you're going to say.
What do you think I'm going to say?
He was in one scene. He was in one scene in this movie. Is that what you're thinking of? Boiler Room?
No.
Oh.
But I do know. I do remember that one too.
Great scene, but one scene.
I definitely would have kept The Town at 4, but if you're looking for another number 4, Smoking Aces is low key pretty entertaining. Huh?
Jeremy Piven?
Yes.
I saw it in the theaters. Yeah, and that's an absurd movie, but it's fun.
Yeah, fun. Yeah, it's fun. All about having some fun, Dean. But
there's a sequel nobody saw.
Affleck's got some bangers, man.
All right, third clue. Let's go ahead and drop the third clue for the people, Chop, as we dive in and throw our teams into tiers. A little behind as far as the clues. So the third clue. You ready for this one, Chopper? Eli Manning face. Eli Manning face is the third clue. All right. Let's go ahead and throw some teams in some tiers. Again, if you guys are joining us late, if you missed it, Cleveland and Boston is no longer. We're down to 11. Toronto, Yankees, Cookie Carrasco taking on Jose Barrios. We're seeing Trent Grisham leading off today for the Yankees. Ben Rice, I wrote glowingly about Ben Rice. He's like top 2, top 3 in baseball when it comes to all the advanced stuff. He's smashing baseballs this year. Love him. Of course, Aaron Judge, you guys heard of him. He's pretty good at baseball as well. Toronto's really cheap, especially on FanDuel. They've kind of stunk. We're waiting for Vladdy to do things. But on FanDuel, Vladdy and Santander and Bichette, if you're playing cash games, those players are in your cash games. Probably. At least 2 of them are. Where do you have the Blue Jays and the Yankees?
So you got a couple of over-the-hill pitchers who've seen their prime, way past it. And, I think both of these teams are going to be put in tier 2 for me when it's all said and done. Carrasco, it's been one of these weird guys who every time he pitches, I think he's going to get shelled and I stack against him. But usually he's actually kind of sometimes holds his own. But, I don't know. Tonight, I feel like something's going to give tonight. Barrios, just he's okay. He's not really that great anymore. But the Yankees lineup is good enough to I didn't want to put them in tier 1. I got some that's reserved for the best of the best, which we'll talk about later. But I think they're both pretty solid tier 2 offenses here for me.
Michael tilting me in chat says every one of these movies suck. Well, if you want to say 2 of them suck, fine, but not every one of these movies. Come on, get out of town. You're entitled to your opinion. You're also entitled to be wrong. Houston taking on KC. 8 is the total. Lugo versus Wesniewski. Another righty against the Astros. I swear the Astros just consistently face righties. For whatever reason, they do not get many lefties. And we know the deal with Houston, just one lefty there. Yordan Alvarez, another guy that's just been not quite himself this year. Maybe he's going to break out soon enough. And the deal with KC is it's basically Bobby Witt and a bunch of dudes. That lineup outside of him is pretty bad. India's been terrible. Vinny P. It's Fettuccine Friday, maybe he gets there, but he's been kind of a disaster this year as well. Where do you have the Astros and the Royals with cheese?
Yeah, so the Astros, Lugo's not a bad pitcher at all. Probably pitched a little bit over his head last year, but he's still not bad. And you got this whole righty versus righty thing. Like for the Astros, it's just a tough matchup for them. So I'm going to put them in tier 4. Maybe they break out, maybe they don't. But I'm put them in tier 4. As for Kansas City, again, like you said, there's Bobby Witt, and there's not a lot else surrounding him, unfortunately, on offense. And I think Wisniewski's been not bad at all. He's not a bad pitcher. Like, he's quality. And just generally, when I think about the Astros, when they struggle, when they go on losing streaks and then they do all that, it's because of the offense. The offense stinks, right? It's never been about the pitching. Their pitching has been solid for years. They just seem to find a way to, consistently go out there and deliver a pretty solid game. So I don't want to stack against that too much. So I'm going to tier 4 for both of these teams.
I just wanted to address a comment in chat. And Fat Jacket says, I'm here to make money in MLB. If you want to talk about movies, go somewhere else. It's disrespectful to those with money on the line. And he also says, maybe did I lose the other comment? But like we're having fun talking baseball. Well, here's the thing, Chop. Like there's 6 months, and we can talk to numbers. If you really want us to talk to numbers that you want to hear, we could do that. That's not it's very monotonous. It's the same thing over and over again, and we're covering everything, and we're having a good time. Also, that's what Crunch Time is for. Crunch Time, Crunch Time locks in and gives you at another hour or so. They're going to give you everything position by position. We're kind of setting the table. We're having a good time. We're chilling out, talking some baseball. And we're focusing on baseball, but we're also sprinkling in a little bit of fun as well. And if that doesn't work for you, no worries. Understood. But
I would my counter to Fat Jacket would be appreciate the feedback.
Yeah,
but you're listening to you're here to make money, but you're listening to a free show. The show is free to anybody. Like Crunch Time.
It's Dave Mack. It's the second burner.
He's back.
The account was made today. He's just so bored.
Well, that's fine, Dave.
It's a fair criticism, I'll say, just for the record. I don't take offense to it. I hear
no, it's not fair. It's a free show. If the big money, the big money's made on Crunch Time or with the written content. Dean's got his survey up today, all that good stuff. This is a free show. We're having some fun, and we're just pointing out a few facts along the way in baseball. Come on now, Fat Jacket, Dave Mack, whatever you want to go by, man. Come on now. This might be Kirk Deese again, man. Who knows?
Is Kirkwood having a bad day? Do you want to text him? Make sure
I don't know, but this might be Kirk Deese again. Juggalos Nation, rise up.
We have and Crunch Time. I mentioned Crunch Time. You got Dave Potts, who's as serious as can be. He's got Dave Potts has that serious face. He's no nonsense at all with Potts. When Crunch Time comes on, taking you all the way up the lock, going around the horn, giving all the game theory you want. Tasteful Tides, Tim is holding it down, and you got Beer also talking some baseball. Beer, of course, him from a multitude of things, but the six-pack, I saw a six-pack video, was out there on this very channel. Kyle Hendricks taking on Pablo Lopez, 8 total. We mentioned Lopez coming back from the IL. Maybe a little bit of a hesitation as far as his pitch count today. I think we have somewhere around 80 or so. Now it's kind of baked into his price as well. Hendricks still hanging on, but not a pitcher anybody's necessarily afraid of. I think Minnesota is one of the better teams on the board. You tell me, where are the Twins and the Angels?
Yeah, I could start off with the Angels against Lopez, who's a really solid pitcher at the 3.2 or wherever it is at now. The projected implied run total against Lopez tells you all you need to know. I don't expect the Angels to go out there and do enough to, buoy up a stack. So I'm putting them in tier 5. I don't like them at all. Minnesota, I do like. I do like picking on Kyle Hendricks these days. So I'm putting Minnesota in tier 2. There's a little I'm going to like Minnesota better when they get fully healthy in that lineup down the road. We get Royce Lewis back and things like that. But
he's rehabbing today, I believe.
Yeah, we need that, man, because that'll really help everybody out because they've got some good pieces in there. They just need everybody in there together. But I'll put them in tier 2. I think they're a solid play.
Athletics lineup just came out. Butler, Rooker, Soderstrom, Langoliers, Blade, Wilson, Kurtz, Urshela, Urias. I believe that was our anticipation as far as the lineups. There's a team missing on the ranking board. Who's not I know somebody who ranked. That's the Angels. You put the Angels in the gutter, right? In G League, I think so.
Correct.
All right. You know, producer Steve's he's spinning all his plates. He's making polls in chat. He's checking.
Dave Mack and Fat Jacket got him all twisted up, man.
Blame Kirkwood. Kirkwood's rallying up his Juggalo Nation. That's what's going on for sure. That's definitely what's happening. He put out the bat signal, and they're all coming at us. We got a winner, by the way, Chop. We have a winner in Discord. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going and keep giving out these clues. We do a winner there for a week free of RG Premium. We'll go ahead and drop that fourth clue for the people. Just play it out for funsies. We'll play out the string. The fourth clue for Film Friday is unsure. By the way, talking about how it's what was the term? Like it's like kind of rude to the people that are watching. It's unfair to those people watching. Talking about movies. Well, you know what? We don't have movies at all in our written content and all the content on the site. You got to kind of pay for it or win yourself, Film Friday. It's actually $425 for MLB for the entire season. However, what they did is they said, hey, listen, you like baseball. How about all these other sports are free too? Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, MMA, PGA. It's all still the same price. The Combo Pro 6-month, it gives you everything with the exception of NASCAR. You get that's actually 35% off the actual price. If you're to go month by month by month, if you extend to 6 months, you commit to 6 months, you get a nice big old fat discount. NBA content, PGA content, all the stuff is out there, and there's no nonsense. So there's no power rankings for movies or any shenanigans in the content that's out there. Do check out the link in the description. Additionally, we're knocking 50% off the price of our first month for props and pick'em. So again, check out the links in the description. If you're in the underdog streets or you're just kind of betting player props, things of that sort, very simple. It's got you could just sort it by what has the best chance of actually winning by percentage wise, and that stuff's going to change based upon how new information is coming in on through. Crunch time coming in about 15 minutes or so. Again, Tim, Dave Potts, Beermakersfan. Let's kind of move on here. Chop. We have the Brew Crew. Speaking of beer, his Brewers and the Cards, 8 total. Liberatore versus Chad Patrick, 2 first names. Still not afraid of them. How do we feel about the Brewers and the Cardinals? I think the Cardinals are kind of a sneaky team. If we're really going to use sneaky, I think they're kind of sort of somewhat sneaky because I don't know if Chad Patrick's it.
Yeah, just based on the matchup with Chad Patrick, I got him in tier 3, St. Louis. So I didn't want to, I'm looking in tier 2, the town, and we're talking about some real firepower up there that, so I just don't think they belonged up there, but they certainly didn't belong anything lower than the accountant. So I don't mind the matchup against Chad Patrick. Very small sample size stuff on him, but if the sample stuff is anything like he's going to pitch for the long duration of his tenure in MLB, he walks guys and he gives up fly balls, and that's good enough for me for a mid stack here, even though the lineup for St. Louis is so bad. But I'll put him in tier 3. Milwaukee, I'm going tier 4. I think Liberatore, we talked about him in the pitcher section. He's not a bad pitcher. He might be an option you can even play tonight in some large field GPP. It's a low team total against him. He's kind of quality, man. So doesn't give up a lot of hard contact. I'm gonna put Milwaukee in tier 4. Not enthused about their lineup these days.
Yeah, I don't like stacking against Liberatore. Like somebody in chat's talking about how the Brewers can hit lefties. I don't like stacking against pitchers that give up a ton of ground balls and don't walk people. That's just, for me, that's not the recipe to have your stack hit. I suppose, you can get there. Anything can happen in baseball, but you probably need the BABIP gods on your side as well. Okay, Reds, Rockies, Kyle Freeland, Andrew Abbott. Today's Reds lineup, not a 5 total, which is kind of surprising in Coors Field. I guess it kind of also speaks to how shaky the Reds are these days. Friedel, McLean, EDLC, Ellie De La Cruz, great speed power combination. Austin Hayes at the cleanup spot. Marte, Steer, Espinal, Wins, and Blake Dunn. Austin Wins had like 6 hits the other day out of the 9 hole. Maybe it was the 8 hole, which I don't know if that's probably happened, but I feel like that's happened very rarely. Maybe 2 of them were off a position player, but just one of those weird things you see. Where do we have the Rockies and the Reds?
So first of all, Dean, I want to address something in chat. I think it's A. Dean who says, I think he's hinting at that. Well, I'm talking, you've been typing, so maybe it's you with the burners here. Maybe you're the one who's firing.
My hands are up here. My hands are up here the whole time.
Maybe it's you that's firing up the burners here, man, and trying to fool us all.
Why would I do that? What would be my motivation?
I don't know. Maybe you're trying to get back at me. You're trying to throw me off my game here.
Just want to see the world burn.
Maybe, but yeah. Let me see here. What we got? Cincy, Milwaukee. All right. We're in Coors Field. I liked the Colorado lineup a lot better with Doyle in it. Now that it's been revamped, man, the lineup is so bad. I originally had them higher than this, but I'm gonna bump them down to 4. I'm gonna go all the way down to 4 with the new lineup for Colorado. Don't like it. I think Abbott has his issues, but I still think he can probably get through this lineup, And so I'm gonna bump him down to tier 4. Don't like what I'm seeing. Cincinnati's gonna be my first Goodwill Hunting tonight. I don't like the ownership on him. I think it's rather high. But we've said it before. There's a lot of ways that this team can beat you fantasy-wise. In Colorado, they can hit home runs, but it's also so spacious. The speed is a big thing out there, and they've got speed in that lineup. So stolen bases, singles that turn into extra base hits, that all plays a factor here for me. Kyle Freeland's not anybody that I'm scared of at all. He's not going to walk anybody, but he's not going to strike anybody out either. So, yeah, I'm going to attack him, and I think Cincinnati is a tier 1.
All right, let's move on. Do we have nobody in G League? I thought somebody was in G League. Did I make that up?
We had one. I think it was the Angels.
Okay, that's what I thought. They jumped out there to the accountant. Chop, I'm assuming you got the knockers and you have the BEP suggestion of the day. That's on layaway, correct?
It's ready to roll whenever you ask for it.
Okay. We got, let's see. We got to pick up the pace here, Chop. We got to pick up the pace. We have too many games. Crunch time coming in soonish. Atlanta, Arizona, 8.5 total. Zach Gallen taking on Chris Sale. No Atlanta lineup just yet. We got Perdomo leading off here versus the lefty in Sale. Corbin Carroll, who's awesome. It is left on lefto, and historically, Chris Sale really, really dominant versus lefties. Naylor, of course, they're probably their second best hitter against a lefty as well. Tawa's got a little speed, a little power. He's cheap, but he's kind of buried in the lineup. But second base is also pretty brutal. Where do we have the Braves and Arizona?
Simply put, as much as I think Sale's struggling this year, I don't want to stack against him. So Arizona's going in 4. Atlanta is a mid-tier for me. The accountant, number 3, tier 3 for Atlanta. Just Zach Gallen, he's not bad. He's not good, but neither the Atlanta offense not showing me a whole lot right now. So tier 3 is a fine spot for him.
Roof is open per the Arizona website. Just a heads up. So I imagine it's not like 110 or 120 in the desert, but it's probably hot in the 80s or so. Let's see if we can get a temp on Phoenix on the fly here as I throw you to the next game. The Marlins and Seattle, 7.5 total. Most of those runs being delegated to Seattle. They have almost a 5-team total. It probably took a slight hit with a Rosarena getting kicked out. The Marlins, 2.5 is their total versus Logan Gilbert. We talked about it before. Gilbert, all qualifying pitchers. Nobody's a higher K rate in all of baseball. And the Marlins are they're bad. Marlins are bad. Liam Hicks doing the catching. Wait, so is Ramirez doing the catching or Hicks? Because one of those guys is catching. I don't know what the other person's doing. Yeah, Marlins, Mariners.
Yeah, pretty simple on the Miami side. They're in tier 5. They're all the way at the bottom. Not interested in stacking against Gilbert. That's crazy talk. As far as Seattle, I'm going to put them in tier 2. The only thing that holds them back from tier 1, the only thing would be the ballpark. Otherwise, and then a Rosarena not making the lineup doesn't help. But the ballpark is the only thing keeping them from. I love this matchup for them. I think they got several guys in this lineup that could really have big games. It's just the ballpark doesn't lend itself to like a whole lot of power, and that's what we want in our stack. So I'm going to put them in tier 2.
All right. I'm not sure if we officially dropped the 4th clue for Film Friday. We already have a winner. We're playing it out. The 4th clue was unsure. The 5th clue for Film Friday, again, we're just doing this for fun. We already have a winner. The 5th clue is Smile, Connect, Bud, Eli Manning face, unsure, and Smile. Chop, if you get it, let me know. Feel free to fire off. You have several guesses synced up there in chat. You've only guessed like 1 or 2 times so far, but we're doing a show. We're multitasking, of course.
The burner accounts and everything else today, I haven't been able to focus, and then somebody got it. So I hate guessing after somebody gets it, because if I get it right and I put it in the chat, then you think I probably cheated, and I don't. So it's not even. But I need to really think about it. But yeah, the Eli Manning face is the weirdest clue you've ever given.
It makes sense though. It'll make sense. I think it made sense to me at least. Shane Baz taking on Mike King, 2 of the better pitchers taking the bump tonight. 7 total, not the best ballpark. A downgrade now for Tampa on the road in San Diego. Where do we have the Rays and the Fathers?
Yeah. I love this pitching matchup a whole lot more than I love the hitters. Both of these teams are going in tier 5 for me. I have no interest in stacking against either one of these pitchers or bullpens for that matter. So it's just all around 5s for me.
White Sox, Athletics, 9.5 total. Athletics very, very close to a 6 total, biggest total on the board, unless something's changed and I got to hit refresh. Severino taking on Sean Burke. Lineup for the Athletics is as expected. Really, really solid. Butler, Rooker, Soderstrom, Langeliers, Blade, Wilson, the rookie Kurtz, Urshela, and Urias. No lineup just yet for the White Sox, unless I missed it or it just came out. Spoiler, it's going to be bad. Where do we have – well, Dodgers just dropped. Braves just dropped, by the way. Where do we have the Athletics? I keep wanting to say Oakland. That's why I'm pausing. The Athletics and the White Sox.
Yeah, tale of two teams right here. White Sox are going in tier 5 all the way at the bottom. I actually don't mind Severino. I don't mind playing him a little bit today. And I certainly don't want to stack against him with this lineup. They stink. Oakland all the way at the top going in tier 1. Love this matchup against Berg. I just like the lineup these days, the way they're throwing it out there. They go like right, left. They got some good balance now. They got some good power. I'm impressed by Oakland. I want to stack them tonight heavily, so I'm putting them in tier 1.
Oh, you're making some big stands today. Like a lot of times people just sort of hedge and throw a bunch of teams in the middle with the accountants. The biggest stack right now, the biggest tier, the most popular tier is Gili. Everybody wanted to hang out with J-Lo. And
I also don't believe, Dean, in like going to lineup HQ and saying, give me 10% of my stack. Give me 10% of, I feel like you're going to make your money. Like you can't break even or make money in DFS, I don't think, by just kind of breaking even or min cashing constantly. At some point you got to win. That's how you make money. That's how you profit.
I was told you never won though before, Chad. You never won.
I didn't win that much.
Never happened. How do you know this? You read it somewhere?
Been since I signed up for RG in 2010. It's been a while, but like you gotta if you could lose like 20 straight days, but when the one time you bink, that's what makes.
What do you win when you win?
It makes up for it. So you got to take stands. So let's get up top and I believe in like deleting a bunch of teams that you don't want any part of as far as stacks, and then loading up on certain teams and going for it.
We got the Dodgers taking on Paul Skeens, Yamamoto, 2 of the better pitchers in the bump. Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Teoscar, Edman, Will Smith, Conforto, Muncy, and Paez. You can always play the Dodgers. You can always do that. But curious your thoughts as far as Pittsburgh and LA.
Yeah, here's my thoughts, Dean. Theme of the day. Believe it or not, and I do this I'm not doing this on the fly here, except for the Colorado lineup, which changed. Both these teams are going in tier 5 also. No, I mean Yamamoto, there's no way. Not the Pittsburgh lineup. No chance I'm stacking that. Skeens, I don't want to stack against that either. That's a super large field GPP play. I don't even want to take a shot on that one. So I'm putting them both in tier 5.
All right, Texas and the Giants. Justin Verlander, old man Verlander. He's a man. He's 40. He's in his 40s. Nate Eovaldi, great ballpark to throw baseballs in. Texas is really cheap on FanDuel especially. I don't think we have a lineup there just yet. Where do we have the Rangers and the Giants?
Texas is in tier 3 for me, although I think Verlander's okay. They do have some familiarity with him, so maybe that pays off for him. But it is a big pitcher's ballpark. And San Francisco are going against Eovaldi, who's just rock solid. They're a tier 4 for me, so I don't have a ton of interest in these teams.
All right, going to recap this board in just a second. By the way, I did mention before the roof opened in Arizona tonight in Phoenix. I don't want to go on my rant about how they hate their fans to splurge and pay for some AC, but it's going to be in the 80s. I know it's a dry heat. I guess it's going to drop to 79 at 9 o'clock. But there you go. Tampa's lineup just came out. Did I see? Hold on a second. Yeah, Simpson's leading off. Really tilted yesterday. 2 times he was on base. 1 time against Burns, and they didn't have him run. What are we doing? Burns gave up 41 stolen bases last season, and this is the fastest man on earth that plays baseball. And they didn't have him steal. They were down a run in the 9th inning, Chop. They were down a run in the 9th inning, like 4-3. He was on first base. They didn't have him steal. I couldn't believe it. I was losing my mind. I may or may not have a bet on him to steal base. It did not happen. Although we did luck box into a 20-1 Yandy Diaz stolen base, which was amazing. Did not see that coming. We'll take it. Okay, let's give the recap. Chop, you're going to tell the people the knockers in just a second, as well as your BBP suggestion of the day. Goodwill Hunting. Only 2 teams hanging out with Goodwill. It's Cincinnati and the Athletics. The town, we got Toronto, the Yankees, the Twins, the Mariners. Hanging out with the accountant is St. Louis, Texas. Just by the way, if you're joining us late, we ranked Ben Affleck movies. Deep Water, Houston, Kansas City, Milwaukee, the Rockies, and the Giants in tier 4. In the last tier, the most popular tier on the board, Angels, Mariners, San Diego, Tampa, the White Sox, Pittsburgh, and the Dodgers. Chop. Knockers, please.
Okay. BVP suggestion of the day, Julio Rodriguez out there in Seattle.
Oh.
I'm going Julio Rodriguez. And the BVP the knockers today. Dean, how about a little shit? I'm turning it down. All right. How about some ginger knockers, Dean? How about some ginger knockers? I don't know if he
Justin Turner, is he playing today?
Whoa, no spoilers. No. So in honor of the Athletics, who play in Sacramento, did you know Jessica Chastain and Molly Ringwald are both from Sacramento?
I did not know that, but they're both redheads.
A couple of redheads. You know who else is a redhead? Brent Rooker. So he's one of the knockers today. Brent Rooker and Shea Langoliers. 2-4. Let's go. Some ginger.
Is Langoliers a redhead, or you're just trying to make a theme happen?
No, Langoliers is not. No, but 3 out of 4. I mean, Chastain, Ringwald, Rooker. It classifies.
Do I want to know why you know they're both from Sacramento? Like, how do you know that?
Because, Dean, we said this last show. I don't just come on here and throw stuff against the wall and sleepwalk through it. I do my research before the show, brother. Even though it's a free show, I do my research.
Yeah, I mean, different kind of research. It's not necessarily applicable to the slate, but still, I guess.
We're here for entertainment, and we're entertaining.
By the way, the people are curious. J-Rod, 6 for 11 versus Cal Quantrill, 4 singles, 2 homers, no walks, no strikeouts. Going to bring in crunch time here in just a second. We do want to explain. Chop, do you know the answer, by the way, for today's Film Friday? Did you see it anywhere or no?
I didn't see it. I mean, my next guess would have been super bad, but I don't think that has anything to do with it. Yeah. So
I every once in a while I go a little bit bold. Like I try to tie in the film with the tiers, and I did that. And maybe that's what kind of opened the door for people to realize, like, oh, wait a second. Connect. When you connect something, you kind of link something. You connect something, you link something. This movie was directed by Richard Linklater. Bud is in reference to the tagline on the poster for this movie. See it with a bud. See it with a bud. And, of course, bud is a double entendre because there's a lot of smoking amongst other things. Shenanigans going on in this movie. Eli Manning face. Maybe we can get producer Steve to throw Eli Manning face up. You know what Eli Manning face is, right? You're aware of what that is?
Sure.
If you were to describe, like, how does Eli Manning look, an Eli Manning face, you might say he looks dazed and confused. You could possibly say he looks dazed and confused. Yeah. Unsure, confused is our fourth clue. And smile, there's a lot of smiles on the poster and just sort of linked with, you still see dazed and confused stuff around. And there are smiles that are, in lockstep with the marketing of this movie. The answer is dazed and confused. I was going to put all right, and I just thought that was way too on the nose, and people would know that. So I did not. That's probably the most famous line for this movie. But there you go. Today's movie, Film Friday, is dazed and confused. Oh, and the reason why is because Ben Affleck is like, he's got a bit part in it. He's not by the way, the cast is ridiculous. Just a lot of people in there became something a lot bigger. And McConaughey was like pulled out of nowhere. He was a nobody. And I somehow, you know about Jessica Chastain. I know McConaughey, his role was expanded because Linklater liked him and on the set. Okay. And he discovered him somewhere like in a mall or I don't know. Any events, let's go ahead. Let's bring in crunch time. We got TastefulTides, Tim holding it down, as well as Dave Potts. And, it's Beermakersfan, taking you guys all up to lock. Crunch time right now. All right, Tim, are you going to be able to hold down all the weather duties that Kevin Roth, did he give you a tutorial? Do you know how to work Weather Edge and all things of that sort?
Luckily, that Boston-Cleveland game got PPD'd, so I don't have to worry about that. I was a little bit nervous.
I was nervous for you, man.
Yeah,
I was nervous for you.
I'm not good with the weather. If it's cloudy out, I don't go outside. So
fair enough. I just don't go outside. The cloudy, not cloudy. If there's clouds out there, either way, I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stay inside. Do we have a favorite Ben Affleck movie? The Accountant 2 is coming out today, which. I don't know if it demanded a sequel, but it is happening, and I'm told it's very good. And I actually want to see it in the first one. I enjoyed very much. But does anybody have a hot take? Are we going to go with the chalk? What is Beer? What's Ben Affleck's best, or you want to give me his worst movie? Go either way.
This probably qualifies for both, but I'm going to say Reindeer Games.
Whoa!
One of those just bad, but it's good.
Love it.
How to explain it? That's what I'm rolling with here.
Reindeer Games. All right, not Saving Christmas. It's Reindeer Games we're going with.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anybody else got anything?
Actually, the town was pretty good. The town. He was in that, wasn't he?
Yeah. That was on the board as well.
A solid movie.
Shout out to Big T. He knows. He says he said The Accountant 2 was very good. So multiple people have chimed in the chat and said that The Accountant 2 is worth checking out opening today, putting on pants for and going to the theater. Dave, you have a take on this?
I mean, I just sometimes chalk, like Logan Gilbert chalk and Good Will Hunting chalk. Sometimes chalk is just too good. Like what are we even talking about? Good Will Hunting. But I'm absolutely going to see The Accountant 2 this weekend. I don't know how Big T already got out to the theater. Like what? I guess it came out last night. But good for you. I usually wait till a couple days in.
Are movies back? The Accountant 2, Sinners is supposed to be great. I don't know if anybody's seen that, but I heard
movies are back. Movies have never really been gone if you're paying attention. But
yeah.
Hey, I have a question, and I don't actually know for sure. And I love a good storyline, but is Brent Rooker redheaded, or did we just make that up?
He is now.
I think he is.
Chop said he did his research, so I'm
like,
is that a Chop fact?
Like, do we have a picture of him? Like, I've never seen him and thought he has red hair, but you don't really see the guy without a hat, so I don't know. Like, I'm not saying he doesn't have red hair.
Maybe my sources were wrong, but let me check it out. I'll read
A Google search says
yes, Brent Rooker is redheaded. AI overview says yes, Brent Rooker is redheaded. AI wouldn't lie to me, man.
I feel like Steve could get us a picture, like without a hat, to see, because like. You kind of see a guy with a hat. If it's not super red, you don't really see. Is that red hair? What are we talking about?
Doesn't really look that red to me. I don't know.
Chop, who are your sources? Chop, name your sources.
AI
is the source.
Chat GPT. They're all on it, man.
I've had some really sketchy confrontations with Chat GPT and Grok recently that like make me question. I'm not sure AI knows what it's doing anymore. I feel like it's lost. Like I was trying to make like some images and stuff for some music stuff, and it just like after a little while it was so far away from understanding anything.
You can't do that. You just got to answer it simple yes and no questions. Is Brent Rooker redheaded? That's all.
But it can be wrong, and I think it is wrong. I think he's not redheaded. Like that's not a slight on you. That's a slight on AI. I don't think it knows anymore. Like I've lost a lot of faith in the robots. I think they need to start over.
Next thing we're gonna find out is that Jessica Chastain was like born in Brooklyn. She was not born in Sacramento, Chop. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm not trying to start any rumors, but I hope it's not the same source. I hope that was a different source. But All right, we got
We're here to entertain, bro. Who cares about facts?
Just
But
hit a home
I-
run, Brent. Just hit a
And I
home run.
want
We
him.
don't care.
I
if you're
want
a
him.
redhead.
I want him to be redheaded. Like I hope that he is, and he might be. I don't. You know, like I say, I've never hung out with the guy, so
I think
And
it's
if
like
I
a
did, he had
Mandela
a hat
effect
on.
thing where like I kind of thought he was redheaded too, but maybe it's one of those things you just sort of believe for whatever reason, but maybe it just never was true. In any event, all right, myself and Chop, we're going to step aside and get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Do not go anywhere. You have 45 plus minutes, MLB DFS conversation, no shenanigans, no nonsense, no movies. You got beer, you got Dave, you got Tim. Tim, take it away.
Thank you, Dean. Welcome to Crunch Time, everybody. I am with two absolute goats of the industry for the show today. We got Dave Potts. What's going on, Dave?
not too much. It's kind of a fun slate. Now I'm just busy trying to figure out who is in fact redhead. I don't know why I wanted to be able to figure this out so badly. I do though. I think the robots are losing their touch. But anyhow, I'm great. Good slate, and we're back with beer. Second week in a row. It's fantastic. I'm hoping beer at some point has to say chunnel caked again in that silky smooth,
I'm
deep
hoping
voice.
so. I haven't been able to use it much in my everyday life, so this is my safe spot. Channel cakes and whatever the hell else we talked about last week.
Yeah, and we got Chris Prince, aka Beermakersfan, fantasy six pack guru. Beer, how you doing today?
I'm good. I'm a little upset with Roth. The weather here in Detroit, hot, cold, raining, snow, hot. As you can hear in my voice, it's really messing with the old sinuses. So I was going to get on him. So Tim, I'm not going to take it out on you, but I am good. It's Friday. Great slate of games. Here with the boys, talking some baseball. Let's rock.
Yeah, this is a pretty awesome slate. I think any kind of contest type that you're playing in today, I think this is a pretty awesome slate. We're gonna go over, some overview stuff, some stacks, pitchers, one-offs, and we'll go position by position. Dave, can you start us off with a pitching overview and maybe cite some differences between DK and FanDuel if you see any that are noteworthy?
Yeah, essentially there are no noteworthy differences, and I think it would be absurd to go cheap on FanDuel. Let's not even talk about it. I mean, if you really want to play Justin Verlander, that's fine, but you don't need salary on FanDuel as we usually see. Maybe you can't play Gilbert and Yamamoto in every lineup. Maybe you need a Michael King or something, but let's just not. That's my opinion. On both sites, as chalky as Logan Gilbert is, I don't know why you don't just play Logan Gilbert. People really work hard to come up with a reason not to play the best plays. And I get it. Sometimes they don't wear out. Cole Reagan's yesterday, he was the can't miss, and he was probably hurt and only lasted a couple innings. And that can happen. A guy can get hurt. He can get hit with a comebacker in the first inning. Sure, things happen. But this is such an obvious can't miss play. Can't miss. 98% of the time, this does not miss. So I'm playing Gilbert. I recommend you play Gilbert, and I recommend you play Yamamoto. I don't see any reason we really need to goof around on this slate. And there's a lot of cheap bats. You can't play them and then play Ellie, McClain, and Aaron Judge. Well, whoop-de-doo. You don't need them. I do like Michael King a lot as well, and he's at a discount on both sites. That's the guy I'm willing to go down to if I need that $1,000. I think he has the same upside as Gilbert and Yamamoto. And then when you start getting cheaper, the guy I'm playing mostly is Luis Severino for $8,000 on DK. He's a pretty good real life pitcher, and he's facing the White Sox. He's not great, but I think he gets another quality start. Maybe even goes to another 8-inning thing like he had last week, just because it's the White Sox. Personally, I have less than 0 Justin Verlander. If you're allowed to have a negative amount, I don't like to play bad pitchers on slates with great chalk. The guy still throws strikes, and he's in San Francisco, so he can luck into a quality start. But I think he's simply a below average pitcher. There's no other way to say it. So I don't feel like I need to play a below average pitcher on this particular slate because there's so many great pitchers. But this huge group in the middle of nobody's going to play Paul Skeens or Chris Sale or Shane Baz or Andrew Abbott or Nathan Eovaldi. Like, these are really good pitchers. Obviously Skeens, but like Chris Sale, you can even throw Zach Gallen in there. He's been more down than up, but like all of those guys have a best case scenario upside that is the same as Gilbert and Yamamoto at like what, a tenth of the ownership. So in MME, I do think you should make some lineups with those other guys. But I much prefer spending up and chasing upside rather than punting with the nonsense and hoping you get the 12 points. Like some slates, you'll take 12 DK points for $6,000. I don't think you want 12 pitching points tonight. So I was going to be willing to play a slight amount of Tanner Houck, but without that game on the slate, I'm just not going. I don't think I actually have anything lower than Severino. If you wanted to play like a Seth Lugo, I wouldn't argue with you on it. But that's just what I'm doing.
Do you have any, just curious, do you have any Andrew Abbott?
No, I sure don't.
Okay.
If he was cheaper, like it's intriguing, obviously, that last week, like he all of a sudden looked good again. I don't buy that he's that guy again. Like this was a very mediocre. He was a young left-handed Justin Verlander last year. Below average strikeouts, a bunch of fly balls. That's not what you want at Coors Field. Maybe that last start means he's back to what he was a couple of years ago. I think it's possible. But this isn't the slate where I want to spend up to find out.
And then we did have one quick question in chat about FanDuel cash pitcher from Jerry Berg, who's one of our regulars in the YouTube chat. Is it Gilbert or is it Yamamoto on FanDuel for cash, do you think?
I think it's Gilbert. I don't even think it's close, personally. I think it's Gilbert with no question.
Yeah. I agree. I would also just roster Gilbert in cash games. All right. Beer, what are your thoughts about pitching tonight?
Pretty much on the same page as Cheese here. I think Gilbert, Yamamoto, clearly your top two. I prefer Gilbert as well. You know, it's just a great matchup with Miami. Yamamoto could find himself in a pitcher's duel. So Skeens intriguing. I haven't gone there yet. So I just think there's too many options where he may go out and shut them out, you know, and we would not be shocked. But we would also not be shocked if the Dodgers put some runs on him. So those are clearly the top two. My third is Michael King. I really like him tonight. I like the savings. I like the matchup here. Tampa Bay, middle of the road strikeouts against righties, but King's been very good against lefties. Strikeout rate over 31%, and a lot of lefties in that lineup. So he's already shown a pretty good upside here. We know it's a good pitcher's park there. So he's right there. If you can't find a way to, it can be tough to fit two 10K pitchers. We know that. There is plenty of value, but he can provide some savings for sure. That's pretty much it for me. Severino's intriguing. You know, Luis Robert being out of the lineup, does that help him? Do we want him in the lineup for those strikeouts? So, you know, you can make a case for that. I'm with Cheese on Verlander, just not playing a guy that's my age, still trying to pitch. So, yes, he's had some decent games, but I'm staying away. As far as your Andrew Abbott question, I think if you do it, FanDuel, the price looks fair. Eovaldi, another guy in FanDuel that looks like a decent value if you need the savings. But to me, it's fine, cheap bats, which we're going to identify. Pay up for these starting pitchers. I think Gilbert, the safest, probably the highest upside, along with Yamamoto. And I think Michael King could rack up double-digit strikeouts tonight. So a big fan of him as well.
Yeah, and before we get to stacks, I just want to bring up, be sure to try our props and pick'em package for a discount. The props and pick'em package features daily prop picks and fantasy pick'em selections from many of your favorite RG experts. We're knocking 50% off the price of your first month when you sign up with the link below. And actually, Beer put on Scores and Odds, the over on Michael King's 6.5 strikeouts. And I tailed Beer on that pick. So I'll be rooting for Michael King in the prop streets. So good luck to us. I do trust Beer. I follow a lot of his picks on Scores and Odds. Beer, why don't you take me through your favorite stacks on the night?
I'm going to start with the Athletics. We won't call them the Oakland, the artist formerly known as the Oakland Athletics. But I mean, this is a team that's been very impressive. I mean, they don't strike out. They're putting the ball in play. They're putting runs on the board. I think the prices are fair. Yes, Rooker, Butler are up there, but it's not hard to stack this team. That's been a great offensive environment there in Sacramento. So they're the one I really like. I also really like the Yankees tonight. I think Aaron Judge, it's going to be tough to get Judge with these high-end pitchers. But if there's one bat I want tonight, it's Aaron Judge. Berrios been a disaster against righties. Judge, very strong history if you're in a BVP against Berrios. I believe it's 5 home runs in his career. So the Yankees look good. I think there's some value in there that you can make it happen with. But Athletics and Yankees. And then there's some cheap, if you're on FanDuel, there's teams like Toronto that's super cheap. I don't think there's a bat over $3,100. Vladimir Guerrero, I think, is the most expensive. So they're intriguing over on FanDuel. The Twins are cheap. The Cardinals are cheap. So there's a lot of cheap stacks on FanDuel. But overall, Yankees, Athletics are my 2 favorites.
Yeah, Cheese, will you talk about your favorite stacks?
I want to talk about stacks, and I want to say I was listening to Beer. I just asked 3 different AIs independently, what color hair does Brent Rooker have? All 3, Brent Rooker has brown hair. I don't know what Chop is doing. I love the guy, but I don't know. Anyhow, okay, so stacks. I don't know which one Spear said. I was listening. I was not just randomly asking AIs about Brent Rooker hair. Salary is a thing if you're doing the pitching. So I don't think we can just say, oh, play the Reds, because if you play the Reds, you can't really play Elliott McLean and weirdly expensive Austin Hayes. I know I heard you talk about Judge. Like, the Yankees have a lot of upside. But yeah, the salary, you really can't play the pitchers with Judge, Rice, Bellinger. So as far as stacks, I'm mostly about salary, which means I'm playing the Twins and the Rangers more than everybody. I also like the A's a lot, but again, those top 5, you can't play the top 5 with Gilbert Yamamoto. So you got to pick your spots. So my full stacks are more just leaning to the cheap side. Twins, Rangers are my top 2. Got a fair amount of Mariners. Got some Blue Jays thrown in there. One team that I did not mention at all in the musings that I have come around on a little bit is the Angels. With Pablo Lopez off the IL, I think he throws like 70 pitches. So I don't mind some Angels stacks.
Yeah, I'm getting to a ton of Toronto on this slate, especially on FanDuel. Beer mentioned how cheap they are. They're incredibly easy to stack. Nobody's like over, I think, 3,100, like you mentioned. I just got a Brenton Doyle scratched notification on my phone, so I'm not sure. It wasn't even clear if he was in the lineup, but he's not playing now officially. So
Jordan Beck leadoff. I actually really like that. I'm playing a lot of Hunter Goodman, and I don't mind pairing a couple of those like Beck and Bouchard.
Oh, you're being serious. I thought this was like some kind of sarcastic thing. Okay, because I really like Abbott. I was considering playing Abbott on FanDuel, but just like the raw upside for Gilbert and Yamamoto are too big.
Like, I like Abbott fine, like enough to I don't like Rocky stacks, but like Abbott can pitch great and give up a couple homers, and they're cheap. So I do actually like the power hunting with the Rockies, not really stacking.
Yep. All right, let's go position by position, starting with Beer at catcher.
Well, Cheese brought up Hunter Goodman. He's certainly one of the better options here. I'm so on Abbott. I'm not going out of my way to play him. I'm not going out of my way to stack against him, but Goodman looks like a good price. Cal Raleigh is always in play for me. I like the matchup for him. Shea Langlier's another option I really like today. So those are the high-end guys. I think there's some decent value here. Guys like Kirk, Cuero, Jeffers, all in play as well, but I'm stacking the A's where I can, so I'm trying to include Langlier's in those stacks where I can. But again, Cal Raleigh, Hunter Goodman, also solid options tonight.
All right, Dave, what are your thoughts at catcher? And are there any catchers on FanDuel that you'd roster outside of stacks today? Jeez.
Yeah, so that actually the first thing I was going to say is Cal Raleigh and Shea Langoliers are absolutely in the pool on FanDuel. In fact, because like first base has really not been a strong position all year, and I think catcher is arguably better than first base. Like I like them as much as any first baseman. So yes, on FanDuel, I would play those two. Hunter Goodman is right there with them for me. So those top 3, Langoliers, Raleigh, Goodman, love them all. I like Ryan Jeffers a lot, a little bit cheaper. I'm also fine with Kirk as a punt if you need it. I think that's all I'm doing outside of stacks.
All right, take me to first, Cheese.
Yeah, so it really isn't great. I mean, I like Vlad, certainly on FanDuel, he's cheap. But I'm being pretty picky with who I'm spending up on because of the pitching. So like, yeah, I like Vlad, I like Ben Rice, I like Soderstrom, but I don't feel like I just have to have those guys. So Spencer Steer on DK is kind of my first stopping point at 4,000. And then I'm playing a lot of Jake Berger and even some Andrew Vaughn because I think it's a pretty reasonable place to save salary, mostly on DK. On FanDuel with Vlad at 31 and like those catchers in the low threes and Spencer Steer at 3K, I don't think you need to go value hunting beyond that on FanDuel.
All right, Beer, what are your thoughts at first base?
High end, I really like Ben Rice. Interesting to see him flip to the 3-hole tonight. So, a little more power opportunity, but he's been playing extremely well, expensive, so not easy to fit. Vlad, more so on FanDuel, 5,200 on DraftKings. I'd rather have Rice at 46, but 3,100, very easy to fit. To me, a good value, Nick Kurtz of Oakland, a guy that's shown a lot of power in the minor leagues, only 3,500 on DraftKings. So he's in play. Cheese mentioned Vaughn and Berger, both guys that are very solid, both sub 3K. Spencer Steer, great price on DraftKings at 4K. And I'm going to throw Paul Goldschmidt in here. If you're close, you're stacking Yankees, you need that extra flat. It's only $300, but we've all built them lineups where $100 over the limit. I prefer Rice, but if you have to flip to Paul Goldschmidt, I don't hate it. But really like Rice, Vlad on FanDuel, and I think Nick Kurtz, Vaughn, and Berger, great values tonight.
All right, Beer, take me to second base if you would.
Some good value here. My favorite, Cheese mentioned the Twins, I believe. Luke Keechel, great price. Another guy that's really come in and made an impact. So 3,400 on him. I like Jazz Chisholm. If you're building that Yankee stack, if you're saving that pitching at 4,800. Nolan Gorman in the lineup tonight against Patrick at just 3,300. So we know the power upside there with him. Espinal, interesting, hitting down the lineup, so shouldn't see a ton of ownership. Maybe you stack a little bit mid to bottom of that lineup here. And then a couple values. Edward Julian, cheap, very slow start to the season, so don't see a lot of traction on him. And then Marcus Semien, to me, a decent buy low. The price is down there going against Verlander tonight.
Yeah, I really do like the Twins quite a bit today. They are very, very affordable, very easy to play with those two stud pitchers that we like so much. Cheese, if you would please give me your thoughts at second base.
Yeah, I had to go back after I was done with my lineups and take out some Twins and Rangers because they're so cheap. I mean, like I had so much Luke Keechel is goofy, and I think he's a fantastic player. And he's my highest owned player, my highest owned hitter at any position. But like, I don't want to go crazy overboard with the Twins and the Rangers. Like, it's not like these are the best teams in the world. Matt McClain is pretty reachable on FanDuel, as is Jazz Chisholm. I really like both of them. It's really hard to pay for that on DraftKings.
Yep.
I prefer Jazz ahead of McClain with that $1,200 discount. But also, yeah, Beer mentioned Nolan Gorman. I think he's a good pivot off of those Twins and Semien. And that's really kind of it.
All right. Take me to third, if you would.
It's a tough night for third base because all the top guys are either, Jose Ramirez got postponed, Riley and Chapman and Machado don't have great lineups. McMahon against a lefty. Like, it kind of leaves Noelvi Marte as probably the chalk. And I think he's pretty good chalk. Like, he's not priced that high. And he's my highest owned player. But I think he's probably everyone's highest owned player at third. So I don't know if I mentioned the Twins or the Rangers yet. I'm playing a lot of Brooks Lee and a lot of Josh Young. Because especially at third base, I don't really want to spend up. There's nothing. I don't even really want Manny Machado, even if I had $5,200. So I think this is really probably the best place so far to go cheap. You could throw Oswaldo Cabrera in there. You could throw a lot of cheap stuff in there, but mostly it's Marte or go cheap for me.
Yeah, I agree. I'm on Marte definitely on FanDuel. Can be on him on DK as well. I don't mind perhaps punting it with Ernie Clement too. I do like the Blue Jays quite a bit. And he's very, very cheap. That will allow you to pay up for players at other positions. Beer, give me your thoughts at third, please.
Yeah, somebody in the chat just mentioned this. The wasteland, it certainly is. I mean, and we lost. Look at the guys that we lost: Evers, Ramirez, Bregman. If you were wanting to spend up, all of those guys stretch. So I agree on Marte. Great prices. I mean, under 4,000 in Coors Field, under 3,000 on FanDuel. I think he's definitely your cash game plan. I don't know that tournament ownership gets out of hand on him. So he's the easy way to go. If you do want to pivot, you are worried. I think Jorge Polanco swinging a good bat early on in the year. I'll take anybody against Cal Quantrill, you guys. So Polanco, a guy that you could pivot to in that same price range. Not a ton of value here. I mean, Jonathan India, a decent price, but this guy has struggled with right-handed pitching over the last couple of years. So 3,300 is interesting, but I think Caleb Durbin, probably the guy if you are looking for value. You can't find a way to get to Marte. 2,900. Yes, he's hitting at the bottom of the lineup, but gives you power, gives you speed. I think he's a decent value play tonight.
All right, take me over to shortstop if you would.
I mean, Ellie, obviously in Coors, it's super easy. Bobby Witt, if you can make it work. Those guys are in play every single day. But I think it's another spot that you can save some money with. Bo Bichette, 4,500 on DraftKings, cheap on FanDuel. We're going to keep talking about these Toronto guys that are too cheap. I'm going to continue to play Willy Adames under 4,000 on DraftKings. I think he's a decent buy low. Jeremy Pena hitting cleanup at 3.8. And then another Milwaukee piece, Joey Ortiz, just 2,500. So another spot that's not great if you're not spending up, but some decent options in that mid-range with Bichette, Adames, and Pena.
Yeah, I do like Bichette quite a bit on both sites. I kind of like Carlos Correa too, even though he's not as good as he once was. But yeah, clearly Ellie is the top overall shortstop. Cheese, if you could give me your thoughts at short, please.
Yeah, it's relatively weak compared to usual for shortstop, mostly just because of the price on Ellie. Like, it would be easy if he was 5,000. I am intrigued with getting a low-owned Bobby Witt. Like, I don't like Wisniewski is a pretty good pitcher against righties. Like, I don't love it by any means. I'm always going to play a guy like that when he's under the radar. But I don't. You guys tell me I'm not paying attention to myself. Have I mentioned the Twins yet?
No.
Okay, so the Twins.
I'm hearing of the Twins.
Some cheap bats. You mentioned Correa, and we got Brooks Lee again at shortstop. Like, if I can't get Ellie and Witt, I mean, yeah, I like Bichette okay as well too, but I'm really just as happy just punting. And I'm punting with the Twins. Also throw Zach Neto in that sort of Jeremy Pena range that you were talking about.
Yep. All right. Take me to the outfield, and also let's consider some home run calls also.
Oh, thank you.
That's your favorite part. That's your favorite part of the show.
Yeah,
it's also my favorite part of the show. So.
I was hoping if you were going to forget something, I was hoping that was going to be it.
You were hoping that? No. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You're doing good. I wish you weren't. Yeah, I don't love spending all the way up, but I love spending kind of up. Like, yeah, absolutely Aaron Judge. But I think when you look at the salary gap, I think Rooker really stands out as probably the best spend up outfielder, given how much cheaper he is than Judge. I love Santander on FanDuel, where he's 2,900. I don't mind him on DraftKings either, but he's too cheap there. So the Rangers, I don't know if I mentioned the Rangers yet. Like, Adolis Garcia and Wyatt Langford would be in my pool, even if they were more expensive, especially Adolis. Trent Grisham. I actually wish he wasn't leading off.
I know.
Because if he was hitting ninth, he would have like half the ownership. And the fact is, he's not twice as good of a play from the leadoff spot. Like, it bothers me that now he's chalky, but he's still a good play still. Larnach in that same price range. Again, those guys are not sneaky, but I think they're too cheap. I don't know what else cheap I have. Last I've seen, we didn't have a Texas lineup, but I would play Dustin Harris. It's another cheap guy. Newt Bar, maybe, and certainly Buxton. I think that's all I need to mention.
All right, Beer, what are your thoughts at outfield?
Aaron Judge, my favorite bat. Again, not easy to fit that price point at 6,500, but if he can fit the build, I love the spot for him here tonight. I agree on Rooker is probably the next best bat. The power's just been there. We know it's the name of the game with the best redhead in the game, Brent Rooker. So I like him and Butler here tonight. They're expensive, a little bit cheaper on FanDuel, a little bit easier to manage. Santander, 4K on DraftKings. Looks like a great price. I think he's going to get it going sooner than later. Cheese brought up Grisham. I think he's a good value on both sides. Larnick, Rayleigh, Dustin Harris, all guys on my list. And then Joshua Palacios, just 2,200. So not exciting to play White Sox, but a leadoff hitter. Some of the numbers, he's been a little bit unlucky, hitting the ball hard, and the surface numbers aren't great. But playing a $2,200 bat is going to unlock, whether it's those high-end pitchers, a Judge, a more expensive bat. I think Palacios, one of the better values on the slate tonight.
All right, Beer, do you have any favorite home run calls, perhaps? Like maybe one chalky one and something else like a little bit under the radar?
So Judge, Rooker, those would be chalky. You're not getting a big number on those guys, but I do like the spot for them to hit a home run. I'm going to go with Noelvi Marte. Looks like you can get him up near plus 700. So, a guy in Coors Field with some power. I think that's probably my favorite long shot of the night.
It's a really good call. He is currently, see if I can find him on DK.
680 or 700. Yeah, he's 700 on FanDuel.
Yeah, he's 650 on DK. I think I'm going to tail that wager also. Dave, you have a favorite home run call? Maybe one chalky and one under the radar?
Yeah, Hunter Goodman. He's under the radar, even though he should be chalky. And every Ranger. Let's do Adolis Garcia.
Adolis Garcia, I do like those calls quite a bit. I'm going to head over to the live stream chat, but before I do that, I'm going to talk about our RG Combo Pro package. The MLB DFS annual option is $425. However, we dropped the price of our Combo Pro product to mirror the MLB annual package. Might as well get more stuff for the same price. Combo Pro 6 months gives you full access to our content, tools, and projections for every sport except for NASCAR at a cheaper price than the monthly package. You'd actually save about 35% by choosing 6 months instead of monthly. Sign up now for MLB projections, NBA content, PGA data, and more. All right, now I'm going to head over to our live stream chat. If you got any questions, put them either in the live stream chat or in our YouTube chat, please. DKGPP, I'll ask both of you this. DKGPP, Wells or Heim?
I mean, let me answer that because I've talked about how much I love the Rangers, but it's still Wells for me. Like I think Wells is my number 4 catcher overall, so I would go Wells there.
All right.
I'll agree. It's close. I'm not really on either of those guys, but I'll agree there.
All right. I think this is a pretty good 2v2 in terms of pitchers here. DKGPP, Skeens and Lugo, or Abbott and Lopez?
I like that it's all sneaky. I want to get Beer's opinion too. Let's both go on this because it's such an interesting question. The one thing I would say is I really don't think you should play Lopez tonight. First start back, he was in the low 60s in pitches in the rehab. Like, there's such a low ceiling with pitch count. Like, so for that reason, I would say Skeens, Lugo. I don't mind having Abbott in the MME pool either, but I would do Skeens, Lugo there.
I'm going to say the second set, and I get Lopez is risky. Looking at our projections, we have him over 90 pitches, which I don't see happening. I thought that was a little high, but maybe they made it let him go a little bit. I'm going to go with that second set. I think the risk and the ownership is probably a little bit lower. Not that I disagree with the first set. That's why it's a question, but I think there's a little bit more upside if we get a decent start out of Lopez and they let him extend a little bit.
Yeah, I would just say if you're dead set on those 4, this 2v2, I would say Abbott and Lopez, but I would say I prefer you go Abbott and Severino. I think that's
I don't
way
mind.
better.
Yeah, I don't mind that either.
I personally think that's way better.
Or you could Abbott and Lugo and have some extra money if you wanted to do that too.
That's true too. So yeah, I don't think any of us really like Lopez that much. I think we kind of all agree that he is a little bit over projected in terms of pitch count. So we don't really like Lopez tonight. Are either of you guys liking Rowdy tonight?
I'm always playing some Rowdy. I mean, he served a little stint with my Brewers, became a fan, so I just like the upside. I think there's better options, but his price, that home run upside, I think he's intriguing.
All right, now I'm going to head over to YouTube for some questions. Abbott on DK single entry, thoughts for you guys for Abbott on DK?
I personally prefer him on FanDuel, just looking at the pricing. I mean, he did show us a good start. Coors, you're always going to get low owned. I mean, it's high risk, high reward. I think there's better options, is what I'll say on DraftKings.
He certainly wouldn't be in my single entry pool on DraftKings.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. Like, we don't know. The thing is, like, he could be good. Like, he was very good 2 years ago, and he was good 5 days ago. Like, there is upside, so I get it. But personally, I wouldn't play him in single entry.
Yeah, the tough thing is that, DFS is slate by slate. And obviously, we do want to attack Colorado, but pitching is absolutely loaded tonight. So that's the only reason I'd be a little bit more bearish on Abbott. But I don't hate it. So probably he would just miss my single entry pool. Buxton Correa or Vlad Bichette. I could either one of you have an opinion. Do you like the Twins or Toronto better?
I will say FanDuel, I like the Toronto prices. I think you're getting a pretty significant discount over there. DraftKings, to me, that would be the Twins.
Man, I just saw Dean posted the Texas lineup, and we do have Jock Peterson in there. Justin Verlander versus Jock Peterson. Like, oh my gosh, someone accidentally has to do something good. That's gonna be an ugly at bat one way or another. Just tossing the ball in there and a dude just whiffing at it. It's gonna be amazing.
Cheese, what are your thoughts? Twins or Jays? Who do you like better tonight?
So, while as much as I talked all about the Twins, it's really just salary based, and I do think they'll be kind of chalky-ish. So especially if you're picking out like a mini stack or something, I actually do kind of like the Jays side there.
Yeah, it's super close. I'm kind of leaning Toronto. I do agree with Beer that on FanDuel their prices are just so cheap. So I would side the Vlad Bichette side, but it is super close. Cheese, Urias for the A's as a wraparound stack.
I think it's fine because that's a spot like just going cheap is totally viable. Like you need some punts and third base is a weak position. So yes, like I would be totally on board with him if you've got the other A's there.
Yeah. Beer, football question for you. I have no thoughts on this. Beer, thoughts on the Lions draft pick last night? Is Brad cooking up a trade up in the second round?
I was surprised that they didn't take Green or Johnson. And I know Johnson has had his injury concerns, but this is a top 5, top 10 pick. If he's not hurt, they need help at corner. So I get the play, solidify that defensive line. They want to stop the run. It makes sense. So I neither loved it nor hated it. Was a little surprised they passed on some of the guys they did. But there's still a lot of value on the board. So he could potentially move up here and still get a pretty good player. Green and Johnson still on the board. Surprising to me, but I thought it was a decent pick.
All right, Cheese, this one's for you specifically because I know that you have an opinion on this because you touched on it in your musings. Verlander revenge game, and he's only 7K on FanDuel. How come we don't have more Justin tonight?
In what way is it a revenge game? I don't know what that means. He never pitched for Texas. That's a weird thing to say. I mean, maybe he's just mad in general because he's old and bad. So
that's what I wanted to hear.
Old and stinky, according to the
he's not good anymore. Like he'll still have good games. He'll still have a few quality starts. He had 1 9 strikeout game. Like he's not just washed, but he's simply a below average pitcher. People are still for some reason thinking about who he used to be, and he used to be amazing. Right now, he's a below average pitcher. And this is not a slate where I want a below average pitcher.
I think people have seen like, okay, he had a 9 strikeout game, 6 strikeouts in his last game. So people are still wanting to believe. I agree with you. It's just a guy that feels like he's hanging on. I'm not playing him tonight. If he beats me, he beats me. So be it.
All right. Thoughts on a Cardinal stack? I haven't heard them mention much tonight. You guys have any Cardinals?
I mentioned them in the open. I think FanDuel's the spot for them again. And another kind of like Toronto. I don't think there's a bat over 3,200 in that lineup. So don't love it. It's a way to get a little bit different. I don't mind the matchup here. So, it's kind of a get different in tournaments lineup. I think you can go that route on FanDuel. DraftKings, I don't think you need to go there.
Geez, what are your thoughts on the Cardinals?
I actually do have a little St. Louis. I really like Gorman and Nootbaar. And then if the other pieces are just the things that fit. So I have a couple stacks on DK and definitely some at least some Gorman on FanDuel. Like, yeah, I think they're right in that big old, there's kind of this big, huge jumble of like teams ranked. I would rank like 5 through 10 maybe. And they're right in that.
Yep. And then we do have a question, 3,500 FanDuel cash utility. I think that's a pretty easy answer. It's Julio Rodriguez if you don't already have him. If you do already have him and need somebody else on FanDuel, I'd probably go Brent Rooker as my next guy in. But
it's kind of crazy how good that price range is when you look at it. It's like, oh my gosh. Yes. Like,
yeah. But I would definitely start with Julio in cash. He would be my priority.
And when you look at that, when I looked at that question that you look at what's 3,500 and below, that's the reason you just play Gilbert on FanDuel. Like, you don't need to spend on anyone over that price in any lineup. Like, it's just loaded.
Yeah, I mean, outfield is really tough, I think, especially on FanDuel tonight. But outfield's always kind of difficult. Santander or Springer with my Toronto stack on FanDuel. Beer, you can answer that one if you want.
Santander for me.
Yeah, that's who I'm going with in my Toronto stack as well, but it is pretty close between those two. DK single entry, I have 5,400 left for my last outfield spot. Can y'all help me decide between Soderstrom and Rooker?
Rooker.
I would also go Rooker.
I think Rooker's one of the top bats on this entire slate.
Yeah, I think he's a really, really strong play. DK Cash shortstop up to Ellie or down to Brewers shortstop.
I mean, so if you're up at Elliott, I'm guessing your pitching is not strong. I would prefer to save and spend more at my starting pitcher spot. As good as Ellie is in Coors Field, I just think the pitching is more important with all the value that we have in the bats.
I would like to hear Dave's thought as well. I tend to agree with Beer, but I think it's kind of close. Cheese, what do you think? Would you prioritize Ellie and Cash or go down to a cheaper shortstop?
I would have Brooks Lee with my Yamamoto Gilbert lineup.
Fair enough. Cheese, could you GPP rank your favorite Rangers?
Kind of. I love all of them. So if not accounting for salary, Langford is first. If the salary matters, Adalis is first. But those are my first two guys in, Garcia and Langford. And then I would go Young, Josh Smith, Jake Berger, then Semien, then Harris, then Peterson, then Higashioka. I like all 9 of them, but that's the order.
All right. Beer, Rice, Correa, or Steer, Polanco, and DK Cash.
I really like Rice tonight. I'm going to go with that first set.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would go with the first one as well. Cheese, thoughts on Eovaldi on FanDuel as a contrarian pitcher with high K upside?
Yeah, I really wish I was playing Eovaldi. I can tell you that I'm not. I don't have any on FanDuel, but it's not because I don't think he's a very interesting play. if you're doing a bunch of lineups, I think you should get him in there. Like, I like him. He's been very good this year. It's just, he's just far enough behind like Michael King for me that I just didn't get there. But I don't think you're doing anything wrong if you play him.
All right, Beer, Severino or Abbott, FanDuel GPP.
I'm going to go Severino. Abbott probably more upside. Severino, I think a little bit safer, and would not shock me to see him match Abbott's upside, if that makes sense. So Severino.
All right, Cheese, are you getting to any Matt Liberatore tonight?
No, another guy like on a different slate, I'd have some interest. Like, he's a pretty solid pitcher, but like on this slate, like a pretty solid pitcher in a not great matchup just doesn't cut it for me.
All right, K-Town's Finest wants to know thoughts on Abbott Liberatore pairing. I think that
a
we're
lot
going
of
to be
Abbott love tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like Abbott, but I mean, I would not pair him with Liberatore. I don't really like that much at all. I would pair him with like a Severino or one of the expensive guys like Yamamoto or Gilbert. I think going Abbott Liberatore is a little bit too ambitious for this slate. Cheese, do you agree or disagree?
Yeah, I don't think you need to go that far off the board.
Okay, yeah.
If you want to play one of them, go ahead.
Mhm.
I don't think you need to play them together.
Yeah. FanDuel GPP, Rooker Steer or Keishal Hayes? Beer, why don't you start?
Rooker Steer. I love Rooker, and I think Steer's too cheap, especially in Coors Field.
Yeah, I agree. Cheese, do you agree with Rooker Steer over Keishal and Hayes?
Definitely, yeah.
QQ DK Cash must plays. I'm definitely gonna say Yamamoto and Gilbert are definitely must plays in cash. Outside of that, I think we can go with probably, I don't know who the other like position players that I would. Trent Grisham definitely.
Yeah.
I think is a must play cash game play. Luke Keishal is probably a must play cash game also. And then I get to one of these expensive outfielders, probably an Aaron Judge. I don't know if you guys have any takes on who a must play would be in cash.
I think you hit the majority of them. I would be spending up at pitcher. That Grisham price, now that he's leading off, is easy. And I would say Marte's pretty close. Third base is pretty ugly. It's a good price. I think Keishal's right there as well. So those would be some of my favorites.
I would add that I am personally spending up for Julio Rodriguez on DK and FanDuel. That is one of my priority plays today. That's just my opinion.
He's definitely a FanDuel cash play for sure.
Yeah. Your thoughts on Josh Smith leading off, Cheese?
Love him.
Yeah. Wyatt Langford versus Verlander. I love them. I'm assuming you guys do as well.
Oh, yeah.
Could you rank your favorite Twins?
So the beauty of the Twins
I gotta give this Cheese because
Yeah.
I know he's got a long list of Twins here. I don't want to steal his thunder.
So the thing is, other than Buxton and maybe sort of Keishal, you don't love any of them. Like, it's just about the salary. So to me, this is exactly the team that you do not build your twin stack and then fill in around it. You decide what you want. You say, I want Ellie or I want Judge. And then you build your twin stack with the pieces you need. I don't care who you play. You're playing them because they're cheap. I can tell you my highest owned ones because of position eligibility on DK are Keishal and Brooks Lee. But I wouldn't say Brooks Lee's one of my favorite. He's just cheap and he plays third and short. So I don't look at it in terms of who are my favorite Twins. I look at it in terms of what positions do I need, and oh, look, there's a twin there.
All right, Beer. FanDuel stack to win it all tonight. How about like a spicy stack, like someone that's going to be very contrarian?
I mean, is Toronto contrarian enough on FanDuel? I just think it makes sense. If that's not spicy enough, I will give you the Cardinals. I think they're super cheap as well.
All right. Single entry thoughts about Abbott and Liberatore. We already talked about that. I have the A's as my most owned stack in a DK large field GPP. Thoughts on that?
I mean, it's one of my favorite stacks. It's not going to catch anybody by surprise. That's what I'll say.
Yep. DKGPP thoughts on Augustine Ramirez at 2.5K if I'm fading Gilbert.
I mean, so one thing I'll say is, so first of all, this dude's name is amazing. To be Augustine without a U between the A and the G is amazing. He actually is probably going to be like one of the best Marlins. Like there's a lot of reason to like this guy eventually. That being said, I don't know why you would play Marlins tonight. Like even like fading Gilbert is enough.
Yeah.
Do what you want to do. I can't personally really make a case to play Marlins.
Yeah, I mean, even if Gilbert's not quote unquote optimal, doesn't mean that the stack is going to be optimal against him. So,
I mean, the realistic worst case is if he gives up 5 runs, you still don't want the Marlins on this slate. So I don't know why you would do that.
FanDuel GPP, Rice or Langille?
I mean, I love them both. I'm going to go Rice over Langeliers. Lingerie? Is that what you just called him?
Langille. That's how we pronounce
me a little
him.
Excited there.
That's how we pronounce him on. Yeah, that's how we pronounce it on Crunch Time. DKGPP, King Larnick or Yamamoto Palacios?
I do King Larnick. I really do like Michael King. Just he's not sneaky, but he's a little less owned than Yamamoto, and with the same upside in a best case scenario.
Beer, FanDuel, Steer, or Keyshaw?
I will say Steer.
Let me touch on one thing. And a couple people asked this in the Discord on 2 different versions of the game. We haven't mentioned any Zach Gallen, Chris Sale, Braves, or Diamondbacks. This is a fascinating game all around. And like, I could make a case to play either pitcher or either stack because of who the teams are and the kind of up and somewhat down of the 2 pitchers this year. Like, I think Gallen on DK is interesting for large field. And I think both stacks with a lean towards the Braves are pretty interesting in large field. That's just one of those. To me, I'm not going to play any of that in single entry, or if I had like 20 lineups, I probably don't get there. But those are 2 offenses that can break any slate, and neither pitcher has been like as sharp as usual this year. So you can play any angle of that game, and I'm not going to tell you you're crazy.
All right, just a couple more questions, then we'll get out of here. FanDuel cash, Gilbert Correa or King McLean in cash. You're playing Gilbert. QQ, Beer, thoughts on a Brave stack and FanDuel single entry?
Sorry, guys. It's the illness starting to catch up with me here. I missed that, Tim. One more time.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Braves stack, FanDuel single entry.
I mean, it's going to be different. So I'm single entry. It's a little bit risky, but anytime you can get a low on stack, that's a lineup that can certainly put up some numbers. All
right. Well, we have hit the lock for Beer and for Cheese and for producer Steve. I am TastefulTides. Thank you, everyone, for watching.